Would you risk your life just to earn $10 a day? What does a single mother in one of the poorest parts of Vietnam have to sacrifice just to make a living? Is conquering these mountain roads really as easy as it looks? And what do you do when the only road ahead is destroyed by a landslide, putting both you and your guests in danger? One wrong step could change everything. One small mistake on the handlebars, and everything could be over. I'm Lynh, a 28-year-old single mother and motorcycle tour guide in northern Vietnam. I've been alone for 3 years, but lately one man's quiet kindness has begun to warm my heart. Why does he care so much about me? And after everything I've been through, can I still believe in true love? Come with me through these dangerous rocky mountain passes where every turn can be frightening, yet breathtakingly beautiful.
Hello,
Let's
good
conquer
morning,
these
Maria.
mountains together as I continue searching for something even harder to find. A happier, more complete life. It's still early when I hear a motorcycle outside my house. It's Long. He's 30 years old and we work together as motorcycle tour guides. I've known Long for many years. Before I got married, he had feelings for me. But at that time, my parents wanted me to marry another man. In the mountains where I grew up, children often listened to their parents when it came to marriage. So Long and I went our separate ways. Years later, my marriage ended. My husband left me and our 2 daughters to start another family. Since then, I've raised my children and tried to build my life again. When Long found out what had happened, he started helping me whenever he could. He never says very much about his feelings, but I understand. Sometimes you don't need words to know how someone feels about you. To be honest, his kindness sometimes makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Not because I don't appreciate it, but because Long is still young and he deserves a good life of his own. I already have 2 children and many responsibilities. Sometimes I wonder if accepting too much of his kindness would be unfair to him. While I'm washing the dishes, Long picks up the broom and starts sweeping the house. I don't ask him to do it. He just sees something that needs to be done and does it. These are small things. But when you've been taking care of everything by yourself for a long time, small things can mean a lot. After we finish the housework, we sit down and have some banh mi for breakfast.
50.000 đấy. Bánh này, sữa này, uống sữa nào đây? Bánh này. Sữa nào chọn đi.
Nothing special, just a simple breakfast before another long day on the road. We talk a little about today's tour and the guests waiting for us. Soon, it's time to leave. I lock the door and we take our motorcycles out together. Another working day is beginning. The mountains are still there. The difficult roads are still waiting for me. But this morning feels a little different. When Long rides beside me, somehow I don't feel quite as alone. And maybe that gives me a little more courage for whatever is waiting on the road ahead. After leaving my house, Long and I ride together to the tour company. It's still early, but everyone here is already busy.
Hello, good morning, Maria. Did you sleep last night?
Today we have 4 guests from Europe waiting for us. And once again, Long and I have been assigned to the same group. 2 other local guides will also travel with us. So today there are 4 guides and 4 guests. Before we touch the motorcycles, there is something important I need to do first. I show our guests the map of Ha Giang and explain where we're going today. On a map, the distance sometimes doesn't look very far, but distances can be misleading in the mountains. A short distance on the map can take hours to complete. There are steep climbs, Sharp turns, narrow roads, and sections damaged by rain. Sometimes we also have to stop because of traffic, construction, or landslides. That's why I always explain the route before we leave. I want the guests to understand that this isn't a normal motorcycle trip. In Ha Giang, the road itself is part of the adventure.
Good morning everyone and welcome to the Valley Ha Giang Loop. My name is Lynh and I will be your guide for the next 4 days. I will be riding with you throughout the trip, making sure everyone is safe, comfortable, having a great time. If you need anything at all during the tour, please don't hesitate to ask me. Now if everyone is ready, please have a seat and let me give you a quick overview of our journey. This morning, we will leave Ha Giang City, begin our adventure through the mountain. Along the way, we stop at several beautiful viewpoints. We will have time to relax, take a photo, enjoy scenery, or grab a coffee.
After explaining the route, we begin preparing everything for the journey. Because some parts of the route can be dangerous, we provide our guests with knee and elbow protectors to help keep them safe.
Okay. Okay. Yes, okay.
Long, the other two guides, and I check the motorcycles and organize the guests' luggage. Most travelers bring backpacks with clothes and personal things for several days. Everything has to be tied tightly behind the motorcycle. This may look like a small job, but we have to be careful. If the luggage moves while we're riding, especially on a mountain road, it can affect the balance of the motorcycle. So we pull every strap tight and check it again. Long has done this many times, just like me. We don't need to say much to each other. One person holds the bag, another tightens the straps. Then we move on to the next motorcycle. When you work together on the road for a long time, you slowly learn each other's habits. Sometimes a look or a small gesture is enough. The guests seem excited. For them, this is the beginning of an adventure through one of the most beautiful mountain regions in Vietnam. But for us guides, excitement is only one part of the job. We also have to think about the road, the motorcycles, the weather, and everyone's safety. And this morning, the weather is already making me a little worried. When we arrived, the sky was still fairly bright. But while we're preparing the motorcycles, dark clouds slowly begin gathering above the mountains. The sunlight disappears. The wind feels cooler. Here in the mountains, the weather can change very quickly. A blue sky can become heavy rain before you have time to find shelter. And rain changes everything on these roads. The asphalt becomes slippery. Dirt roads turn into mud. Loose rocks can fall from the mountains. And places that were safe yesterday may not be safe today. It looks like rain could come at any moment, but everyone is ready. The luggage is secured. The motorcycles are checked. Our guests put on their helmets. One by one, the engines start. Long looks over at me, and I nod. It's time to go. None of us knows yet that somewhere ahead, the road is going to become much more difficult than we expect. Not long after we leave, the first drops of rain begin to fall. At first, it's only a light rain, but in the mountains, you can never be sure how long it will stay that way. The clouds become darker, and soon the rain is falling steadily around us. You may even notice some water on the camera lens. Sometimes the picture becomes blurry for a moment. This is what filming on the road is really like during the rainy season in Ha Giang. There isn't always time to stop and clean the camera. Our first priority is the road in front of us. Rain makes these mountain roads much more difficult. The road becomes slippery, visibility gets worse, and water begins collecting in the lower sections. So we slow down. There is no reason to rush here. Getting our guests to the next destination safely is more important than arriving quickly. Then we reach something that makes the whole group stop. Part of the road has collapsed down the mountainside. Almost half of the road is gone, and on the part that's still there, a large pool of muddy water blocks the way. From where we're standing, it's difficult to tell how deep it is. This is one of the situations I worry about most during the rainy season. We can't simply look at the water and know what's underneath. There could be a hole, there could be loose rocks, or the ground underneath could be softer than it looks. I ask my guests to get off the motorcycle and wait. It's safer for me to take the motorcycle across alone first. I start the engine again. Slowly, I enter the muddy water. I keep both hands firmly on the handlebars and try to keep the motorcycle balanced. Here, even a small movement matters. Too much throttle and the wheel can slip. Too little and the motorcycle can stop in the middle of the mud. For a few seconds, I don't think about anything else. Just the front wheel, the road, and keeping my balance. Finally, I reach the other side. But my guest is still waiting behind me. The mud is deep and slippery, and I don't want them trying to cross alone. So I leave my motorcycle and walk back. This time, the only safe way I can think of is to carry my guest across on my back. It probably looks a little funny, but at that moment, I'm not thinking about how it looks. I'm thinking about every step. Moments like this are something tourists may never see when they look at beautiful photos of Ha Giang online. The mountains are beautiful, but reaching them isn't always easy. For local guides like us, this is part of the job. Sometimes we guide, sometimes we carry luggage, sometimes we fix small problems with the motorcycles, and sometimes we literally carry our guests across the road. Once everyone is safely across, we continue our journey. Little by little, the rain begins to ease, and the landscape in front of us starts to open up again. Huge limestone mountains rise on both sides of the road. Some are so steep that they almost look like giant walls. The road winds between them, disappearing around one mountain and appearing again beneath another. After the rain, clouds still hang between the peaks. Everything looks bigger than us. Sometimes riding through this landscape makes me forget how tired I am. These roads can frighten me, they can exhaust me, but they also remind me why people travel from the other side of the world to see my home. And now that the most dangerous section is behind us, we continue deeper into the mountains. After leaving the difficult mountain road behind, our next stop is Lynh village. Lynh is a Hmong village in Ha Giang, known especially for its traditional hemp weaving. We come here because I want our guests to see another side of Ha Giang. Not only the mountains and dangerous roads, but also how local people have lived and worked here for generations. Our first experience in the village is pounding rice by hand. It looks simple. You lift the heavy wooden pestle, bring it down, and repeat. So of course, our guests want to try. At first, everyone is laughing, but after doing it again and again, they begin to understand how tiring this kind of work can be. You need strength, but you also need rhythm. For our guests, this is only something they try for a few minutes. For generations of people living in these mountains, physical work like this was simply part of everyday life. But Lynh is best known for something much more special, hemp weaving, and we don't have to leave the village to discover it. Just a short walk away, our guests can see how Hmong women turn an ordinary hemp plant into traditional fabric with their own hands. This is one of the traditions that has made Lynh famous. And when you see the finished clothes and colorful handmade products, you might think the process is quite simple, but it isn't. Everything begins with the hemp plant. After the plants are harvested and dried, the fibers are carefully separated from the stalks. Then the fibers have to be joined together and twisted into long threads. Traditionally, Hmong women would use almost any free moment to work with these fibers. Some women and girls would even carry hemp fibers with them so they could continue joining and spinning the threads wherever they went. Watching an experienced woman do it makes everything look easy, but their hands have repeated these movements thousands of times. The thread needs to be long, even, and strong enough for weaving. Making the thread is only the beginning. Traditionally, the hemp threads are soaked and boiled several times, including treatment with water made from kitchen ash. This helps the fibers become softer and gradually lighter. Beeswax can also be used to make the fibers smoother. Then comes one of the most unusual steps. The bundles of hemp are placed over a round wooden log, with a heavy flat stone above them. The woman stands on the stone and shifts her weight from side to side. As the stone rolls back and forth, the fibers underneath slowly become softer and smoother. Only then are the threads ready for the loom. At the loom, hundreds of threads slowly become a piece of cloth. One row at a time, there is no shortcut. Traditionally, women often weave only after finishing their work in the fields and at home. That's one reason the process can take such a long time. And even when the cloth comes off the loom, the work still isn't finished. The fabric can be boiled, washed, dried, and softened again. Traditional Hmong hemp fabric is also dyed with indigo, sometimes again and again until the desired color is reached. And then come the patterns. Some traditional patterns are drawn by hand using melted beeswax. Lines, triangles, spirals, and other shapes slowly appear on the cloth. The patterns aren't just decoration, they are part of the cultural world that Hmong families have passed from one generation to the next. For the Hmong people here, hemp cloth has traditionally been connected with much more than clothing. It is connected with marriage, family, ancestors, and spiritual beliefs. A traditional piece of hemp clothing can accompany a Hmong person through some of the most important moments of life. So when these women continue weaving, they aren't simply making fabric. They are keeping part of their culture alive. Our guests watch closely and ask questions. For them, today began with motorcycles, rain, mud, and a dangerous landslide. And now, in Long Tan, everything has slowed down. Here, something as simple as a piece of cloth can carry months of work and generations of knowledge. This is another side of Ha Giang that I want my guests to remember. The mountains may be what first bring people here, but Ha Giang isn't only about beautiful scenery. It is also about the people who have built their lives among these mountains and the traditions they are still trying to protect. After leaving Lungtown village, we get back on our motorcycles and continue the journey. The weather is much better now. The dark clouds from this morning are slowly disappearing, and the mountains begin to show themselves again. After everything we went through this morning, riding under a brighter sky feels like a small reward. Not far ahead, we stop at a viewpoint high above the valley. From here, you can see mountains stretching one after another into the distance.
Okay, thank
Small
you.
roads curve around the mountains below us. Some houses look so tiny from up here that you can barely see them. A few hours ago, we were down there struggling through rain and mud. Now we're standing above it all. This is one of my favorite things about working in Ha Giang. A difficult road can suddenly lead you somewhere incredibly beautiful. Of course, everyone wants photos. For our guests, these pictures will probably become some of the memories they take home from Vietnam. Long and I help them find good places to stand. Sometimes I take the photos. Sometimes Long helps me. We move around, change the angle, and try to fit both the guests and the huge mountains behind them into the frame. Taking photos isn't officially the hardest part of being a motorcycle guide, but somehow we end up becoming photographers too. And when the guests look at the pictures and smile, we know we've done a good job. The 4 guests traveling with us today are a family. Watching them together makes this trip feel a little different. They've been through the same rain, the same muddy roads, the same landslide, and now they're standing together, smiling in front of one of the most beautiful views of the day. Maybe difficult journeys become better memories when you experience them with the people you love. By now, everyone is getting hungry, so we get back on the motorcycles and continue until we reach a small restaurant beside the road. There is nothing fancy about this place. It's the kind of simple restaurant we often stop at during our tours. And today's lunch is also very familiar to me. Boiled vegetables, fried eggs, braised meat, And of course, rice. Rice is the main staple in most Vietnamese meals. For many families, a normal meal is simply rice with several dishes placed in the middle of the table for everyone to share. It doesn't need to be expensive. Some vegetables, eggs, a little meat, and a bowl of hot rice are already enough for a complete meal. For us, this is ordinary food, but for foreign guests, even an ordinary Vietnamese lunch can be part of discovering the country. Everyone sits around the same table. After a wet and difficult morning, the atmosphere is much more relaxed now. The four guests talk about what happened on the road. There is a lot of laughing. Even the difficult moments from only a few hours ago are already becoming stories. I think that's one of the beautiful things about traveling as a family. We don't only see new places together, we collect stories that only the four of you completely understand. After lunch, everyone takes a short break before we continue. And this is usually the moment when my body finally realizes how tired it is. I sit down on one of the chairs. I only plan to rest for a few minutes, but apparently I fall asleep. I don't even know that someone is filming me. Later, I find out that Long recorded this. He knows I'm making videos about my life and my work in Ha Giang, so whenever he sees a moment that may help me tell my story, he quietly takes out the camera. I never asked him to do that, he just does it. Sometimes I wake up and discover that he has recorded moments I didn't even know were happening. Maybe this doesn't seem like a big thing, but when someone remembers something that's important to you, even when you don't ask them to, it feels different. For 3 years, I've become used to taking care of almost everything by myself. My children, my home, my work, and all the small problems that come with everyday life. So sometimes I don't really know how to respond when someone tries to take care of me. Part of me is grateful, another part is afraid of depending on someone again. I don't know where this will lead. For now, I think it's enough to know that when I wake up, I'm not alone on this journey. Soon, we'll get back on the motorcycles, and our day in the mountains is far from over. After a short rest, we get back on the road, and somehow the weather has completely changed. The dark clouds from this morning are gone, the sky is blue, the sun is shining, and the mountains look completely different. It's hard to believe that only a few hours ago, we were riding through rain and a dangerous landslide. Our next destination is Du Gia Waterfall. We can't ride the motorcycles all the way to the waterfall, so we leave the bikes behind and continue on foot. It's about a 2-kilometer walk. After spending so many hours sitting on a motorcycle, walking actually feels quite good. The road takes us deeper into the countryside. The sky above us is completely clear now. Everyone seems to have forgotten about the rain from this morning. As we get closer, we begin hearing the waterfall, and then we start hearing something else. People shouting and laughing. Today Du Gia is crowded. There are travelers from many different countries here. Some are swimming, some are sitting on the rocks, and some are standing high above the water, trying to find enough courage to jump. Our 4 guests don't take long to join them. After everything they've already experienced today, apparently they still want another challenge. Long and I find a place to sit and watch them. For once, neither of us has to drive. We can just sit for a while and let our guests enjoy themselves. One of them climbs onto the rocks. He looks down at the water. For a moment, he hesitates. Everyone starts cheering. And then he jumps. A few seconds later, he comes back to the surface with a huge smile. Soon the others want to try too. Watching them makes me think about why so many foreign travelers love Ha Giang. Most experiences here are very simple. There are no luxury resorts in the places we visit, no expensive attractions, and many of the natural places we visit don't require an entrance fee at all. We ride through the mountains, walk through villages, swim in a waterfall, sit beside a river, and watch the sun disappear behind the mountains. Simple things. But maybe that's exactly what makes Ha Giang special. Many European travelers who come here aren't looking for luxury. They want something that still feels wild and real. They want roads that aren't perfect, small villages, local food, Mountains, rivers, and waterfalls that haven't been changed too much for tourists. And Ha Giang still has a lot of that. A 4-day Ha Giang Loop tour like this costs around $160. That usually covers the main things travelers need during the journey: the motorcycle, accommodation, meals, and local guides like us. For many foreign visitors, it's an affordable way to spend several days exploring one of the most beautiful parts of northern Vietnam. But the money looks a little different from my side of the motorcycle. For one day of work like this, I earn around $10. For some people watching this video, that probably sounds very low. And compared with incomes in big cities or other countries, it is. The life in the mountains is different. Here, $10 can still mean a lot to a family. For me, this job helps me buy food, pay household expenses, and take care of my 2 daughters. But I can't keep all of the money I earn. The motorcycle I ride every day still isn't fully paid for. I'm still paying for it little by little. For tourists, this motorcycle is part of the adventure. For me, it's something much more important. It's the tool that allows me to work. Without it, I can't take guests through the mountains. And without work, taking care of my children becomes much harder. That's why I try to save whatever I can. Some days, it's only a little, but little by little, it adds up. I don't dream about becoming rich from this job. Right now, I just want to pay off my motorcycle, take good care of my daughters, and make our life a little more secure. I look over at Long sitting beside me. Then I look at our guests laughing in the water. It's strange. For them, today is a vacation. For me, it's a working day. The same road, the same mountains, the same waterfall, but 2 completely different lives meeting in the same place. And maybe that's one of the reasons I still love this job. It isn't easy, but every day brings me a little closer to the life I'm trying to build for my children and for myself. By the time we leave the waterfall, the sun is already getting lower behind the mountains. After such a long day, everyone is tired, so we ride to the homestay where we'll spend the night. Tomorrow morning, we'll continue the journey, but tonight there's nothing more we need to conquer. No more mountain passes, no more mud, no more worrying about the rain. For now, we can finally sit down together and enjoy dinner. When we come to the table, there's already so much food waiting for us. There's chicken raised here in the village, local pork, boiled vegetables, crispy battered fish, fried tofu, French fries, and fresh watermelon for dessert. After spending almost the whole day outside, this table looks especially good. Everyone sits together around the table. Guides and guests eat the same food and share the same dishes. This is one of the parts of the tour that I really enjoy. During the day, I'm responsible for my guests. I'm watching the road, checking the weather, thinking about safety. But at dinner, everyone can relax. We're no longer 4 guides and 4 guests. We're simply 8 people sitting around the same table after sharing a very long day together. And then someone brings out some Vietnamese rice wine. One of the women in our guest family has never tried it before, so naturally everyone wants to see her reaction. She takes the small cup carefully. She smells it first. Everyone is already laughing. Then she finally takes a sip. For a second, she doesn't say anything, and then her face makes everyone at the table laugh even harder. Vietnamese rice wine can be much stronger than people expect. But she smells and decides that this is another experience she can add to today's memories. The atmosphere becomes warmer as dinner continues. Everyone talks about the road this morning, the landslide, the mud, Lung Tan Village, the mountain viewpoint, and of course, the jumps at Gia waterfall. Something that felt difficult or even frightening when it happened now becomes a funny story around the dinner table. Maybe that's what a good journey does. It turns difficult moments into memories. The family has also become very comfortable with Long and me. We've spent the whole day helping them, taking photos, eating together, and getting through difficult roads together. Then, during the conversation, one of them looks at Long and me and starts smiling. They say something that makes everyone at the table laugh. They say Long and I look good together. I laugh too. Long looks a little embarrassed, and for a moment I don't really know what to say. It's only a joke from our guests, but somehow it stays in my mind. I think about this morning, Long coming to my house, helping me without being asked, working beside me throughout the day, helping me take photos for our guests, and quietly filming me while I was sleeping because he knew these videos mattered to me. None of these things are very big on their own, but together they make me think. For 3 years, I've tried to teach myself not to expect too much from anyone. If something needs to be done, I do it myself. If life becomes difficult, I find a way through it. Maybe that's why receiving someone's care still feels unfamiliar to me. Part of me feels warm, but another part of me is still afraid. I've already made one choice in my life that changed everything. Now I have 2 daughters to think about, not only myself, so I don't know what the future will bring. And maybe I don't need to know yet. Dinner slowly comes to an end. The plates become empty. The laughter becomes quieter. Outside, the mountains have completely disappeared into the darkness. Everyone is tired now. Our guests go back to their rooms. Tomorrow we'll wake up early and do it all again. Today started with dark clouds and uncertainty. We crossed rain, mud, and a broken mountain road. We visited a Haimong village, stood above beautiful mountains, and watched our guests jump into a waterfall. And tonight we ended the day laughing together around a dinner table. Maybe happiness isn't always something big. Sometimes it's having enough work to take care of your children. Sometimes it's reaching the other side of a dangerous road safely. And sometimes it's simply realizing that someone has been quietly walking beside you all day. Good night from Ha Giang. Tomorrow the road continues.
Cứ giống như ở người Việt Nam này bố, mời chéo hỏi tên, con cũng chẳng nhớ tên đâu, mọi người không vào nick.